I the a-hole for throwing out my husband's dinner after I went to eat at his mom's house? My mother-in-law calls every night to ask what we're having for dinner. Then she brags about what she's cooking to make me look bad, especially for getting takeout. I used to care, but not anymore. But my husband would ask me to make dinner, only for him to go eat the dinner his mom makes at her home, which is 10 minutes away, and using the "that's my favorite meal" excuse. Yesterday, I wanted to surprise him by cooking one of his favorite meals. And although I was busy, I took time off work to cook. I even went grocery shopping to get what I needed. Later, as I was setting the table, his mom called. I told him he didn't have to answer, but he did. And like usual, she asked what we were having, but acted surprised that I cooked this meal. She then went on to tell him she cooked X meal and told him to come over. He said okay, which shocked me. I said, seriously? As he started dressing up getting ready to leave. He told me no offense, but this meal that his mom cooked was even more of a favorite than the one I cooked, and grabbed his keys and left. I felt awful. I took his plate and threw it out, then ate my portion. As I was about to put the plate in the dishwasher, he got home looking angry, saying his mom lied about cooking that favorite meal and used it as an excuse to force him to eat dinner with her. I was shocked, but he sat down telling me to go ahead and reheat dinner. I told him no dinner after he abandoned it. I threw it out. He said, what? And I told him he disrespected my time and effort and chose to go eat with his mom instead. He began yelling at me, asking if I really did that. Then called me petty and horrible, then went upstairs saying what I did was 100 times worse than what his mom did. I definitely feel like I let my anger and frustrations get the best of me, but it really felt unbearable having to live like this for so long. By the way, I'm 26 and he's 28. Edited to add to make one thing clear, and that's the fact that my husband only does this when it comes to food. He lived with his mom, attended community college, and loved and still loves her food and is used to it. She gave me recipes to make and I tried to do that, but he keeps switching homes just to eat what he feels like. Now for the top comments. Not stay home. Why in the world is he telling you to go heat dinner? Did a T-Rex attack him and eats his arms on the way back from his mom's? Did he try to catch a piano falling from the sky so it didn't land on a child playing and all his fingers are broke? Did he anger a forest fairy and she cursed him and now he has 2 sets of legs instead of hands? Or is that him waving a huge red flag? These are all good theories, but have you considered that her husband may actually be a stray cat enchanted to appear human? That would explain why he wanders from house to house asking to be fed, and then picks and chooses from what's offered. If you're gonna keep a stray cat, don't forget to neuter him. Not stay home. Your husband can either commit to eating at home with you, tell you well before dinner that he's eating with his mom, or he can make his own meals. Until he starts regularly making a choice to be home or go with enough time for you to plan and prep your cooking, cook enough for only you. He's on his own. Edited to add, I wasn't going to say it because I feel it's obvious, but I can't help myself. This is much larger of an issue than dinner time. There is a profound lack of respect in your relationship. Husband needs to snip the apron strings at the very least, but really needs to spend some serious time thinking about what the marriage and partnership actually means. Not stay home. You didn't make him lick the empty plate, did you? I say you were restrained. My mother-in-law was an award-winning Southern chef. My husband is a chef. My son is a chef. I cook well, but I'm not a chef. Not one of them has ever disrespected my cooking. People who are genuinely good at something and confident in their abilities don't usually feel the need to put others down. This is a million times over. Talent isn't afraid of other people's interests and ability. Also, not stay home. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for my reasons of no +1s on my wedding, causing several people not to attend? I'm getting married, and like every other bride, I too have certain rules I want for my wedding to go smoothly. One of them is the no +1s rule. Only people named in the invitation are invited. The criteria I have for people who will get to bring their partners are 1. Both me and my fiancé know of your partner and have met them. If I know your partner and my fiancé doesn't, that disqualifies them and vice versa. 2. If I'd personally go to dinner with you and your partner. 3. If I'd invite your partner as a separate person anyway and not just because they're your partner. 4. If your partner is also a friend of mine. Those who meet that criteria get to bring their partners. If they don't, then they don't bring them. Simple. That also includes long-term relationships, engaged couple, and married couples as well. We know it might seem harsh, but those are the rules we've decided to set so we can be more comfortable. It has nothing to do with budget or venue capacity. Purely our choice. Several people have denied the invitation to our wedding due to these rules. One of them is also my cousin. My cousin has been engaged to this girl for 1 year now and he was upset we didn't include her. The reason she was excluded was because my fiancé hasn't met her, and she's not a person I'd personally be friends with either. I told my cousin how heartbroken I am that he will not come to the wedding due to this, and I expressed my distaste for the fact that he can't be away from his fiancé for a few hours to honor me and my fiancé. Couples don't have to be together the whole time. Then he basically told me I'm being extremely disrespectful and a huge a-hole. I asked him to explain, and he said word for word, "Let me get this clear. You want me to come to honor you to your wedding, honor your love story and all that, but you can't respect me enough to invite my fiancé? I can be without my fiancé for several hours. Heck, we can even spend days apart on vacations with our own separate friend groups sometimes. What bothers me is not being away from my fiancé for some hours, but the fact that you excluded her for those reasons." I told him those are the rules. Take it or leave it. He says he finds my rules extremely disrespectful, but since it's my wedding, he has no say in it. I told him good, and to stop BSing me then and show his support and respect by attending. He said that while he respects my extremely exclusive and disrespectful rules, I'm a fool to believe that he will care more about valuing my wedding over his fiancé. Am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole. For guilt-tripping your cousin and anyone else you try to pull this crap with. Your wedding, your rules. But people are allowed to not attend for not liking your rules. Suck it up. Right? The girl is literally pending their own wedding. Family. Hope he's probably not getting an invitation to theirs either. Haha. You're the a-hole. And she'll have the audacity to wonder why and think her cousin is being a jerk. She's the a-hole for sure. Only Opie appears to be able to have rules. The cousin's rule is to not attend weddings where he can't bring his fiancé, which I find to be totally reasonable. Opie doesn't believe others are allowed to be upset with her rules, but she's allowed to be upset with others' rules. You're the a-hole. You want people to come celebrate your marriage and your relationship by asking them to leave their spouse or long-term partner at home? You are misusing the word +1. That is intended for truly single people. Established couples are to be treated as a unit. Sure, your wedding and your rules and all that BS. But if you create BS rules like this, you have to expect people to decline. If I had a relative tell me my spouse wasn't invited because circumstances hadn't allowed the two of them to meet yet, I decline too. Agreed. And an invitation is just that. An invitation, and not a summon. If people RSVP declining to come, they can decline for any reason. Absurd rules or not. Personally, I would decline in an instant if my significant other, dating, engaged, married, or otherwise, was not invited. Expect the same respect for your new marriage as you've shown those other long-term relationships. You're the a-hole. Yep, Opie gonna be real pissed in the future when her spouse is not invited to family gatherings, but she did it to herself. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not reading my ex-friend's essay about everything wrong with me? Recently, a friend, 32 female of 9 years Hawaii, 27 female considered one of my good friends, texted me completely out of the blue saying that she didn't want to come to my wedding or be my friend anymore. Some backstory. I knew the friendship was fading but had just assumed we would slowly go our separate ways. Over the past few years, I have often gone to her house to comfort her about everything that went wrong in her life, including things she really had a choice in changing. Example, she didn't counter-offer enough at her job before signing the contract. Her new boyfriend snores and then she yells at him. Her new e-scooter's battery is too heavy to get to her great new job, etc. In contrast, in the past few years, my two parents have had 3 cancer diagnoses between them. And my sister died, and anytime I try to talk to her about this, she just changed the subject. Anyway, this all happened 3 days after coming to my apartment, laughing, chatting, and exchanging gifts and books. When she was at my house, the only moment that seemed to upset her is when I asked her if she wanted to help organize my bachelorette party. She said she felt she wouldn't do a good job. I said I didn't really care and wasn't sure if I wanted one anyway, and it could just be drinks and a movie at my place, if that. She was a bit cagey about it, but at no point said no. Perhaps I could have picked up on this. But also, I think if you don't want to do something, just tell me. So a few days later, I get this long text saying he didn't want to be my friend anymore or come to my wedding. I was obviously upset because any rejection feels like garbage, and I tried to call her to discuss it, but she wouldn't pick up. She said we should take time to let it sink in. I was still upset, but just decided to give her some time. After a day or two, I realized that anyone who would act like she did with no explanation wasn't someone I wanted to be friends with anyway. 5 days later, she messages to say she has written an essay on all her issues with me that I won't like. Also, that it is too big to send by WhatsApp, frequently used in Europe for texting, so she will email it to me? This was accompanied by a lot of smiley emojis and friendly exclamation marks. I told her not to send the essay because I wouldn't read it as I no longer wanted anything to do with her, and I blocked her on WhatsApp. She then sent me green texts telling me I wouldn't grow if I didn't read this essay and that I was selfish. I then blocked her and everything. I'm sure I wasn't fully in the right, but the way she dealt with this whole situation seems completely wild to me. Am I the a-hole for not reading her letter? Now for the comments. The fact that this person thinks it's appropriate to send you an essay detailing everything they think is wrong with you tells me that you're not a problem here. Not the a-hole. But how will she ever grow as a human unless she reads the essay? Maybe she decides to grow as a mildly annoyed duck. Who are you to decide her career? Yeah, you're not the a-hole. Your friend has ended this and now seems to be telling you you're the problem? I wouldn't want to hear it either, so you're completely correct to ask for it not to be sent. People like that seem to believe they are better than everyone else and are never to blame for anything. In my experience, they usually are the main cause of most issues and actually have very warped sense of self and the world around them. She sounds jealous of you and is trying to rain on your parade. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Friends don't need to break up with long dramatic text messages or essays. They can just stop hanging out. If she just wants drama, she can go watch Netflix or something instead. Absolutely this. I've always had way more respect for the friend that just slowly distanced herself from me until I got a hint than I do for the friend who chewed me out aggressively for 5 minutes and then tried to be like, I'm happy to see you around and be civil though. Last story. Am I the a-hole for saying I'll drop out as a groomsman over my sister's wedding if she includes our mom's ex? My mom and I raised my younger sisters and I, now 24 female, 26 female, and 32 male, mostly alone. When we were really young, there were some POS boyfriends including my bio dad, but when we were 0, 2, and 8, she moved us to a new town and started fresh, just a single mom. But when we were 8, 10, and 16, her boyfriend/partner Henry also moved in with us part-time and eventually full-time. I had an okay relationship with Henry. He was fine, but we weren't close. After high school, I enlisted, and when we were 12, 14, and 20, he cheated and they broke up. He then married a woman he cheated with .001 seconds later. My mom was devastated, especially because she didn't date much to begin with, because she'd had bad experiences in the past. I really thought he was one of the good ones. He was the first guy she'd taken a chance with in a decade. Post-divorce fallout, Henry did keep in touch, but I didn't really respond. My middle sister did though. She would still talk to Henry. My mom knew and hated it, but didn't stop it. And Henry and his wife would reward her for it by buying her things my mom couldn't afford to buy for her, like a new MacBook, and even letting him give her a bit of money for her college tuition. He offered it to all three of us, but she's the only one who accepted. Now, sister is getting married, and my mom, as promised years ago, gave her a budget of $10,000 for her wedding. She had already told me in private that Henry and his wife would be in attendance, and I guessed they'd given her money as well, even though she was telling my mom that she/significant other were covering the rest. She told me officially today that they were giving her $10,000 as well, and the wedding budget is $16,000, so she'll get to keep what she doesn't spend. She told me that she wanted my support in breaking this to our mom at some points before the wedding, and that at the actual wedding, she wanted to acknowledge Henry/his wife in their thank you speeches, and have Henry at the head table. Her husband is estranged from his family, so the seating would go left to right. Her 3 bridesmaids, our mom, her, the groom, Henry, the 3 groomsmen. I said that she could do what she wanted, but that I thought it was embarrassing for our mom, especially in front of our extended family. She got upset, and I finally said, "Look, if you want this so bad, fine, but I'm not sitting at the same table as him then, so I guess you'll be down a groomsman." She said, "You're not going to go." And I said, "I'll go. I'm just not willing to sit 2 seats down from the guy who cheated on our mom, and who you only like because he buys you things." She got even more upset, and called me names on the phone and later over text. Our youngest sister refuses to get involved, and just wants us to get along. She's never taken money from him, but she's also one of those people who hates people spending money on her, so she hasn't taken money from anyone else either. Not stay home. She's choosing to hurt your mom for money. I wouldn't stand up for her either. I don't care if the wild speculators are right about her choosing the cheater over the innocent victim, because he's the only father figure in her life, and she's actually choosing to hurt her mom for her dad, not just for money. Her mom being the only mother figure in her life doesn't seem to mean anything to her. Not stay home. I wouldn't go either, and I hope your mom doesn't. Not stay home. Your sister needs to woman up here. If she wants a relationship with Henry, or at least Henry's money, so be it. But she can't compel the rest of you to be on board with that. And she certainly isn't going to be able to do it by hiding the truth. So tell her to tell mom on her own, before you need to give her a heads up that she's going to be sharing a table with her cheating ex and his affair partner. I'd prefer it if she hid it by not putting him at head table and thanking him in private. It's hurtful to our mom. But she is telling her. That's why she called me. She was telling me first, but planning to tell her soon. Normally she/we just hide stuff like this. Your sister is a self-absorbed, selfish prick. Not gonna lie, I kinda hope karma gets her and she has a similar life to her mom, where her own kids choose money over the person who single-handedly raised them. Praying for karma against her. I personally would be no contact with someone like your sister. If she could do this to her own mother, I can only imagine what she can do to others.